I like you, there's no doubt about it. I like you, there's no doubt about it. I like you, there's no doubt about it. You and I are friends. And that is a great song because it reminds me that though the world keeps changing, children are the same. They're the same as I was 75 years ago, and they're the same that they were hundreds of years ago. All over the world, what do children want? They want to be loved, they want to play and have fun with their friends, and they want to feel competent and capable. The best things in life are free, and I'm here to share with you today some simple gifts, simple things. We're so busy trying to give children things we didn't have. We're failing to give them what we did have. Just the simple stories and songs and finger plays. Now, before I get started, I want you to know everything I have, everything I do is now free. You can go to my website, drjean.org, or you can go to my blog, drjeanandfriends.blogspot.com. And whatever you want, if you go to my blog spot, put it in the search engine and it will come up. But I've got hundreds of YouTube videos where you can watch me do some of the songs and the things I'm going to share with you. And I just want to tell you thank you, first of all. 'Tis you. 'Tis you who cares, 'tis you who shares, 'tis you who teaches children everywhere, 'tis you who inspires, 'tis you who molds. You help children's gifts and dreams unfold. 'Tis you, our teachers everywhere. For some child, you're the only one who cares. And when you come at last to the end of your days, I have touched a life is what you can say. And it is you. For some child, you're the very best thing that's ever going to happen to them. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the brain. If you put your two fists together like this is what your brain looks like. And I do this with the kids. And yeah, that's what your brain looks like. Every time you sing a song, every time you run across the playground, every time you build blocks, it's controlled by your brain. Now, how many parts does your brain have? Yeah, it has two parts, and you can't learn with just one part. What you have to do is you have to build bridges in your brain. So you're going to see me do lots of things today. It's called crossing the midline. And that's why when I do simple things like handshakes and the songs and things, we're crossing the midline. We are like energizing the brain. I think people forget that the only way information can get to the brain is through the senses. Children have to see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. And you think about this, when you give children a screen and they tap and they swipe, you don't get very much going to the brain. But when you stand up and you sing and you move and they play with blocks and they build with Play-Doh, you get so much more going to the brain, those simple things that we can do with children. So I always like to get started with a brain hug and with a song to get those brains ready to work. So this is a brain hug. Thumbs up. Repeat after me. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Thumbs down. Cross your arms. Clasp your fingers and give yourself a brain hug. And that way we've connected both sides of the brain. Now, that one's a little tough for little kids, but I do this one too. Repeat after me, boys and girls. Thumbs up, across the chest, pat on the back, because we're the best, And you will notice so many things that I do. I try to build children up and make them feel positive about themselves. And so with that brain hug, you know, you're the best, and crossing the midline. Now, like I said, I think every day it's important to get started with a song. Now, I can't sing. I know I can't sing, but I'm a good example. All you have to do is be enthusiastic and smile, and you're going to pull those children in. You can change the words to any song. You can make up your own tune. If it's a tune that you remember from your childhood, just put words you want in that song. So we're going to do a little song called Rise and Shine. And again, I have YouTube videos, free videos of these, but this is a great way to start your day. Have the children stand up. Rise and shine, and welcome to school today. Rise and shine, and welcome to school today. Rise and shine, and welcome to school today. We're so glad you're here. A little bit louder, so you can sing that several times and just get them up and have them move. I know in the United States and many other countries, they are so concerned about children developing skills, learning letters and sounds and counting and things like that. And it's so much more fun when you do it with a song. And so I've got lots of songs where children can count and learn letters. Like this one I call phonicized. You put your hands on your head and say A, and you touch your shoulders and make the sound of A, and then you touch your toes and say something that starts with that sound. So A, apple, B, book. Do you see how much more active that is than giving them a worksheet to color and do something like that? Counting, a Macarena. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 110. So here again, we're counting, moving, crossing the midline, having a good time. Now, I want to do one more song with you. I know some of you might speak different languages in your schools, and you can adapt my songs and my ideas to almost any language. And this one is a little song called Tootie Top, and it's a silly song. But you know what, when you sing with children, you connect with them and you build that relationship, and they develop social skills. They're in a community with their friends and having a good time. And when we're doing like something like Tootie Top, we're doing oral language, we're doing auditory memory, we're doing a sequence and a pattern, we're having a good time. And that's how children learn. They have to be having a good time. So I'm just going to do a little bit of Tootie Top with you. And I have to let you know, a teacher in Africa sent me a video of her kids doing this. They didn't know what the words were. They didn't care. They were just having fun. So here we go. A tootie top, a tootie top, a tootie top, top. You say
a tootie top, a tootie top, a tootie top, top.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
A tootie top, a tootie top, a tootie top, top.
A tootie top, a tootie top, a tootie top, top.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Elbows back.
Elbows back.
All right, and then it goes thumbs up, elbows back, feet apart, knees together, bottoms up, tongue out, eyes shut, turn around. And anytime you have a song where they get to stick out their tongue, that's kind of a fun thing to do. So I hope you'll get some of my music videos and just sing and play and have a good time with the children. Some of the other things that you will find on my videos, I have one with handshakes, and I think it's important to connect with children physically with hugs and handshakes. And so one of my handshakes is called a thumb kiss, and I go into schools and do a lot of volunteer work, and I will go up to each child and say, show me your thumb, give me a thumb kiss, and they take their thumb and we go, that's the thumb kiss. And they love that. They also love the butterfly handshake, where they hold up their thumb, I hold up my thumb, we hook our thumbs and stick out our fingers, and we have the butterfly handshake. They love to do the squirrel handshake. They put out their arm, and then I run my hand up their arm, that's the squirrel, and then they get to do the same to me. Sometimes you can give them a choice about a handshake. So I've just got a little heart cut out of felt, and a hand cut out of felt, and some lips cut out of felt, and the number 5 cut out of felt, because some children want a hug and some of them don't. So if you have these symbols and you put them on the floor, they stand on the one they want from you. So if they want a hug, they stand on the heart and you can give them a hug. If they want a handshake, they just hold up the hand and you can give them a high five or give them a handshake. This one, and 5, that's the high five. You give them high five. And then the lips, this is one of their favorites. It's called a Hollywood kiss. And but it's kind of funny. My son-in-law is Bulgarian, and That's how they kiss in Bulgaria. So lots of ways that you can adapt these things. So after we get through singing a song and we do some letters and sounds, to get them sitting down, if you say just sit down, that doesn't work. But I often use this. Na, 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 na. Hey, hey, good job. Na, 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 na. Hey, hey, sit down. And if you lower your voice, as you lower your voice, you kind of pull the children in a little bit. Children aren't going to just sit down and be quiet. And so sometimes I will use just a little cheer like this. Tootsie Roll, lollipop. We've been talking, now let's stop. Isn't that better than shh, be quiet and listen to me? Or sometimes I'll go, hocus pocus, everybody focus. And there's something about getting them to put their eyes around, their hands around their eyes like this, like binoculars. It really helps them pay attention to what you want to talk about and helps them focus on what you might be working on. Now, I've got some different simple tools that I wanted to share with you. No matter where you are, you probably have some paper plates or something like this. And you don't have to buy expensive instruments, but just to give them paper plates and put on some music and let them keep the beat. I love paper plates because they're so nice and quiet. You can shuffle them. You can play follow the leader and they do what you do. You can put the plates on the floor and they put one foot on each plate and then they skate around the room. All of these different movement things are just so good for the brain. Children spend so much time sitting and playing with devices that we just need to get them up and move. Another fun thing to do with paper plates is to put their names on the paper plates and put each child's name on a paper plate, and you put these on the floor and you sing, if your name is on a plate, pick it up. If your name is on a plate, pick it up. If your name is on a plate, then you're really, really great. If your name is on a plate, pick it up. And they find their name and they pick it up. Now you could do something similar. Whatever you are working on, whether it's colors or shapes or numbers or sight words or letters, whatever it is, you put them on the plates. Now, I wouldn't put letters and shapes and numbers on plates and use it at one time. Work on one skill, stick with letters or numbers or whatever. And you put them on the plates and you have enough plates for every child in your room. And you put these on the floor. And this is a game, it's similar to musical chairs, but we call it musical plates. So we put on some music and they dance around it. Any kind of music. As long as the words aren't dirty, you can play rap songs or anything you want. And then when you stop the music, they have to all find a plate and they have to hold it up. And then you can point to different children and they can identify the information on their plate. So you're working on skills, but you're moving and having fun and playing a game at the same time. I wanted to show you my little bears because this could be used for circle time activity, or if you wanted to dismiss the children to line up, you can't let them all go at once, but you can use these bears, and when they see their name, they can line up. There's so many things to do with their bears. Children love their names and they love their pictures. So I've just got these little bears, and I've got the pattern on my blog, and I would sing like, say, Sally, Sally, who do you see? I see Anna looking at me. Anna, Anna, who do you see? I see Mikey looking at me. And some of you might be familiar with Bill Martin's book, Brown Bear, Who Do You See? And it's the same chant, but you use it with the children's names. And then you can put a tune to it, like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Mikey, Mikey, who do you see? I see Carlos looking at me. So any place in the world, you could use this and the children would love it and attend to it. Now, in addition to using these little bears for the children's names, maybe you're teaching them colors. So you could say, blue bear, who do you see? I see red bear looking at me. Red bear, who do you see? I see orange bear looking at me. Now, that's good for colors. Now, If you're working on letters, you could make letter bears. B bear, who do you see? I see H bear looking at me. If you're working on numbers, you could do 8, who do you see? I see 14 looking at me. So do you see, I take something simple, real simple, and milk it for all it's worth. Use it for all my different skills and things that I might be doing with the children. So the bears are a great thing to do. Now, I know a lot of you have limited materials and you don't have to spend a lot of money with children. You can take all sorts of simple things and recycle them. One of my favorite things is food boxes, just empty food boxes, and ask the parents to send those in. And you just put the empty food boxes over in the block center and they can fill it up with different items, or you can take it out on the playground and they can fill it up and empty it. If you take your food boxes and you cut little notches in the side, then you've got a weaving activity. If you punch holes in them, you've got a sewing activity. If you cut them into different pieces, you've got a puzzle. So, you know, recycle that, use those. I hope you all have wooden blocks in your classroom. If I could have two things in every early childhood classroom, it would be blocks and books. I love blocks. They are real. And I don't know if you've ever watched children. They will take these wooden blocks and they will almost like caress them because this is a natural element. So many things in their world are plastic. And if you would take your wooden blocks and put children's pictures and their name on the block, do you see how good that's going to make them feel when they're over? Oh, look, they're playing with my block, you know, and what a part of the classroom community to have all their pictures and names. And when you do those things, you also have to have your picture because they like to play with you too. And you can use these for lots of game activities. Another little simple prop I wanted to share with you. This is called the iPhone. It's a wooden block and I wrote the letter I on it, and you can pass the iPhone around, and sometimes this is really good to help children with oral language, but to also know when it's their turn to talk. Only the one with the iPhone can talk. And so they could start off like, tell me something good. And they pass this around and they all say, I am happy about, or I want to, you know, do this today, or something starting with the word I. And they pass it around and only with the person with the iPhone gets to talk. So that's a good classroom management strategy. Another simple prop that I wanted to share with you to help children with classroom management, this is called a sitter spot. So I've just got felt, and you could use cardboard or whatever. I cut it out in a circle. And when we get ready for a circle activity, you can take these and you put these on the floor where you want them to sit. And that's their sitter spot. It gives them a spot to sit. Children need defined places, and that helps them develop that self-regulation and self-control. That's my spot, and that's where I sit. As a teacher, this is a smart trick too, because maybe Ike gets in trouble when he sits next to Joseph. And so you might want to put two quiet friends on either side of Ike, and then that's going to help him know the right thing to do. Some children, if you notice, they just can't control themselves. They've got too much energy and fidgety fingers. Well, if you take old socks, or you could just take old rags and you tie them into knots. And this is called a fidget fixer. And if they have a hard time paying attention and their hands are wiggly, you can invite them to get a fidget fixer, and they can sit and they can hold this and open it and close it. And that's just a good way to help them develop some of that self-regulation, because some children really need that area to vent. I always like to have finger plays that I do with children. And, you know, I've been doing this a long time, but I still go into schools and children, they love these finger plays. I mean, it's just like, wow, it's a whole new world for them. So I just want to do a few with you. Show me your little blackbirds. And before I start a finger play, I prompt the children. I don't just jump right into it. I get them ready. Show me your little blackbirds. Okay, here we go. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill. One named Jack and one named Jill. Fly away, Jack. Fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack. Come back, Jill. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill. one named Loud, and one named Soft. Fly away, Loud. Fly away, Soft. Come back, Loud. Come back, Soft. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill. One named Happy and one named Sad. Fly away, Happy. Fly away, Sad. Come back, Happy. Come back, Sad. I can go on for 5 minutes with my little blackbirds and doing, you know, happy and sad and up and down and fast and slow and all sorts of different opposites. And I use a lot of exaggeration. Did you see that? Children love exaggeration. That really pulls them in. I have videos where I do all sorts of finger plays. And what I would suggest you do is just, you know, get a little ring, and I've just used a little pipe cleaner and turned it into a ring, and you can run off my finger plays and introduce them to children. Maybe introduce one each week and do it every day for a week. Repetition is important. I mean, you can't just do something one time. You have to repeat it over and over again. I have to do one more of my favorite finger plays. Show me your 10 little friends. 10 little friends came out to play on a very bright and sunny day, and they had a little talk, 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 and they took a little walk, 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 stop, till they came to a great big hill, and they climbed to the top and stood very still till they all tumbled down and fell to the ground. We're so tired, they all said, so they all went home and went to bed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good night. And again, did you see how I lowered my voice and pulled them in instead of sit down and be quiet and keep your hands in your lap? You know, you got to trick them into that and do all of those fun things with them. Wanted to do a few stories with you because stories are timeless. And I think a lot of people have forgotten just to tell stories to the children. And, you know, some of the favorite stories I used to like to tell when I was a little girl, tell stories about your childhood and funny stories about you. One of my favorite stories I used to tell my children was about when I was a little girl and I had a popsicle, and my big cousins and my big brother and sister had a popsicle, and I made mine last longer than theirs. And they were just so jealous because I still had my popsicle, and they said, well, Jean, if you dig a hole and you put your popsicle in the hole, it will grow into a popsicle tree and you'll have more. So I took my little popsicle and I put it in the hole and I covered it up, and I never grew a popsicle tree. But, you know, those are just stories, and stories about you that make that personal connection. Teaching is a relationship, isn't it? It's connecting with those children. So I'm going to do a few of my favorite stories. This one, it's just a file folder, and I've got the pattern for this on my website, and I cut the shape of a cat out of the front of the file folder, and I've inserted construction paper inside. Now, to help you out, if you glue the words to the story on the back, it'll look like you know the story and you're just reading it on the back. So once upon a time, there was a little black cat, and he got tired of being black. So he said, say it with me, I'm Scat the cat, I'm sassy and fat, and I can change my colors just like that. And Scat changed from being a black cat to being a blue cat. He went down to the pond to look at himself, and he accidentally fell in. So when Timmy Turtle came along and took him to shore, Scat decided it wasn't a good idea to be blue, and he said, say it with me, I'm Scat the cat, I'm sassy and fat, and I can change my colors just like that. And he changed from being a blue cat to being a red cat. He went walking down the road, and the other animals saw him, and they started laughing. Who ever heard of a red cat? So Scat decided he didn't want to be red, and he said, I'm Scat the cat, I'm sassy and fat, and I can change my colors just like that. And he changed from being a red cat to being a yellow cat. He went walking in the woods, and who did he run into but his cousin Leo the lion? Leo the lion said, "Rah! I'm the only cat who can be yellow." So Scat decided he didn't want to be yellow anymore, and he said, I'm Scat the cat, I'm sassy and fat, and I can change my colors just like that. And he changed from being a yellow cat to being a green cat. He went to play with his brothers and sisters in the grass, but they couldn't see him because he was green like the grass. So Scat decided he didn't want to be green anymore, and he said, I'm Scat the cat, I'm sassy and fat, and I can change my colors just like that. And he changed back into being a black cat, because being yourself is the best thing that you can be. And I like you just the way you are. You don't have to change one little bit. I like you just the way you are. Now, when we're doing that, we're doing colors, we're doing oral language, we're doing rhymes, we're just having such a good time. And just, you know, what's special about each one of you. And I love this little song, Show Me Your Special Stars. Special, special, special you. You are special, it is true. There is no one quite like you. I love you and your teachers do too. Special, special, special you. You are special, it is true. And boys and girls, reach up and grab a star and put it in your heart, because you're so special. And that's why, you know, I like to do a lot of my cheers with the children too. And the cheers are a good way to get their attention, but the cheers are also good to help them feel good about themselves. And if you listen to some of your families, hurry up, get in line, be quiet, don't, you know, they get so many negative vibes from the world around them that anytime we can do these positive things, that's just great for children. So you can run off the cheers, and I have these in Spanish as well as English, but you feel free to adapt them to whatever language you use. And I'm just going to, boys and girls, you've done such a good job today. I want to give you some cheers. So let's give ourselves a firecracker cheer. Put your hands like this. Firecracker cheer. I'm going to give you a looking good. Looking good. Do it with me. Looking good. I want to give you a Harry Potter cheer. Show me your magic wand. Your terrific. Your terrific. And you can deal with a lot of these cheers. You're also doing a lot of articulation, like the hamburger cheer. Let's make our hamburger. Make your hamburger. Put your hamburger on the skillet. Is it done? Not yet. Is it done? Not yet. Is it done? Well done. And, you know, I realize as adults, a lot of these things don't make any sense to you. That's why I like kids. You know, they just go along with me and they have a good time doing it. Let's see. Let me do a few more cheers with you. The cowboy cheer. Put your finger in there. Yeehaw! You can call it the cowboy or the cowgirl cheer. How about this one? This is the silent cheer. Boys and girls, you can make as much noise as you want as long as I don't hear you. That is a good one. Pat yourself on your back. You did such a good job. Say, good job, me. Good job, me. Oh my goodness, the cheese and grater. Here's the grater. Here's the cheese. You're great, great, great. How about the parrot cheer? Look, you did a good job. Look, you did a good job. Or how about the awesome cheer? You're AWESOME. You're awesome, awesome, totally. So again, I have videos where you can see me do these cheers, and you can adapt them and change them to make them more appropriate for the culture or wherever you might be. Well, just a few more things I have laying around here. I wanted to show you something. I love Play-Doh. any kind of dough. And there's lots of recipes for homemade Play-Doh. And you can take something simple like Play-Doh and turn it into a learning activity like this. I call Play-Doh plates. So they roll the Play-Doh and they could put it on the number 5, and then they make 5 objects. You could also do this with shape plates, or you could do this with letter plates. And I have a free book of Play-Doh activities that you can do with the children. I have, ideas for like the high 5 hands, whatever you're working on, you put it on the hands and you put these on your door. And every time they go in and out the door, they high 5 the hand and say the color or the letter or number. There's just so many ways that you can take what your school wants you to help the children learn and turn it into a fun activity where they can play and have a good time together. I'm going to do one more story with you, and then I think you might want to ask me some questions. And so this is a story about Mother Bird and Father Bird, and it was springtime and they wanted to build a nest. Now, you know what? Birds can't go to the hardware store or the lumber store and buy things to build their nest. They have to find things on the ground and recycle them to build their nest. So Mother Bird and Father Bird found sticks and leaves, and they even found some trash and some hair, and they pick things up and they build a nest. And as I'm doing this, I'm just thinking, it is a small world, because all over the world, birds build nests, don't they? And they found those materials and they recycle them. Well, Mother Bird sat on the nest and she laid an egg, and she tucked the egg down in the nest. And she couldn't leave that egg. She had to keep it nice and safe, just like your families keep you nice and safe. Now, fortunately, she made friends with some bugs who lived in the tree. And so here's one little bug. This little bug's name was Jeremy. And every day Jeremy would come talk to Mother Bird so she wouldn't be so lonely. And Jeremy had a sister named Josie. And Josie would come talk to Mother Bird too. And every day, Jeremy and Josie would come talk to Mother Bird. Now, after she sat there for a long time, she heard a little crack. And she looked down, and there was a little crack in the egg. And then she heard a great big crack. And she looked down, and there was a great big crack in that egg. And do you know what came out of that crack? Out came a little baby bird. And I tell you what, I could be with children anywhere in the world, and if I could tell this story to them, they're just like, it's magic, isn't it? It is still a wonderful world, and that's why I love being around children, because it is magic when you teach, and if you're having fun, the children are having fun. And sometimes people say, well, what do you do if you're in a bad mood? If you're going to be a teacher, you've got to be part actor or actress. You just, that's your performance, that's your play, and you leave your personal problems behind, and you go in every day and you put a smile on your face and you say, we're going to have a great day today. This is what we're going to do. And then at the end of the day, you bring them back together and you talk about, let's talk about what we did today. And you have them name the things that they did. You could pass the iPhone around and they could tell, everybody could say something that they learned or I liked or whatever they did that day. You could have them say what they learned, and then you get to kiss your brain because you learned it today. You want to end on a positive note and do a few cheers. And then I always end with a goodbye song. It is time to say goodbye to all my friends. It is time to say goodbye to all my friends. It is time to say goodbye. Give a smile and wink your eye. It is time to say goodbye to all my friends. And friends, we have such an opportunity to take those little children and just love them and show them it's a wonderful world and give them that security. That's why a lot of the songs and the routines that I'm sharing with you, those help children feel secure. It's a crazy world out there, but they can depend on you. They know every day you're going to love them. They're going to have a good time. They're going to be accepted for who they are, and they're going to feel special. So thank you for letting me share with you. I've just gone all over the board, but I tell teachers, my workshops are like a buffet or like going to a big store. You pick and you choose what you like. Anything that you like, you use it. If you don't like it, don't do it because it's free. It doesn't matter. But I hope you find some things on my blog and website that will help you enjoy teaching and make it a little more fun for your children.
Thank you, Dr. Jean. This was really incredible presentation. And I have some questions for you.
Sure.
You have mentioned that the world keeps changing, but children's are the same. Many preschool professionals would disagree with you because they experience the children are more and more challenging nowadays. What would you say to them?
And I agree. I mean, because I go to schools every week and volunteer, and yes, the children don't come out of the womb any different. I mean, they're still so what are we doing as a society and as families that are causing some of these changes, these behavior issues that we see? Number one, I think too much technology. And I'm not one of these people that says no technology at all, but it has to be a balance. And you see parents taking their kids, if they're in the store, instead of talking to their child and explaining things to them, what do? They hand them their phone. Or, I'll even see people out walking their children and in strollers and things. And the little toddler has an iPhone. I mean, that's not necessary. We need to talk and really think about how much screen time these children are having. And see, when they're playing with the screen, they don't have to get along with anybody. They can just do their own thing. And if they don't like it, in real life, you have to learn to give and take and negotiate. And also, I find some children are not as respectful as they have been in the past. That, and again, where does that come from? That lack of respect comes from home, that the parents don't expect the children to have good manners and don't help them develop those skills. And that's why as educators, we have to do overdoses of that, don't we? You saw me doing a lot of that with, we need to keep our hands to our lap, and we need to have self-control, and we need to think about our friends. So, all of that is part of that community that we build in the classroom. And that's why even in the classroom, that's why I think blocks and playing outside and playing in the sandbox and playing in the housekeeping with the baby dolls, that's where they learn to take on those different roles, and they learn to negotiate and play a little better.
Yeah, that's totally true. There is one more question, and it says, what would be the top 3 pieces of advice that you would give to the kindergarten teacher that just started her career?
Oh gosh, when I started teaching my first day, I was scared to death, and my mother said, "Oh, honey, just love them and be sweet to them." So number one, it's timeless. You just gotta love them and be sweet to them and let them know that you care about them. Love them and just be sweet to them. I'd also remind them to have fun with them. You have to play and have fun with them and get on their level. You don't just, put out the materials and say, do this. When they're coloring, sit down at the table, color with them, talk to them, listen to them. I remember one time my daughter came to visit in my kindergarten with me, and she was like in 5th grade. And I was taking one of the little kids' hands, and when they would talk to me, I would hold their hands and I would listen to them. And she said, "Mom, you really listen to them, don't you?" And I go, "Well, yeah." I said, "Don't your teachers listen to you?" And she said, "No, not really. They just go, And so you talk to them, listen to them, and see how simple that is. Play with them, talk to them, listen to them. And don't be too hard on yourself. Children don't hold grudges, and we make mistakes and tell them, "Oops, I made a mistake, didn't I?" And laugh about them and show them, it's okay to make mistakes. Don't be so hard on yourself. Think about the good things that you do and not the mistakes that you make.
Wow, Dr. Jean, thank you. These are priceless advices that you just gave us. And we hope you will continue with your inspiring work years to come.
Well, I am probably the oldest person, educator, that has been continuous. I started teaching in 1969. I'm now 75. I still go in the classrooms. I still do things with children. My grandson told me that I was wholesome and authentic. And I think, you know, that those things make me feel well, because I do want to be wholesome. There's so much trash out in the world for children that just, you know, these simple things and songs and finger plays, they are wholesome things. And I'm authentic, I'm real. I think a lot of the things that I'm seeing now on the internet with teachers, you know, they think they have to put on a costume, or they've got to have all these fancy materials. That's just stuff. You know, that's just stuff. It's still about relationships. And I still love what I do. So I hope I keep on doing it a lot longer.
Yes.
And what the good thing is, you know, with good part about technology is everything's out there now and it's free. I have all these YouTube videos and there's lots of things you can pick and choose from. Discriminate. Not everybody that's putting stuff out there knows what they're doing. And don't listen to, you know, I've heard some things on the internet and I'm like, where did that come from? You know, so you have to be a good judge and discriminate and pick and choose what's best for you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jean. And we are so happy that you came and gave us your priceless advices.
Thank you. Well, take care. God bless. And at the end of the day, keep a smile on your face.